Wayside, Christmas Day, it's developed into this street party and it is awesome.
Hello.
You all right?
Happy Christmas.
To see street people owning the street is just the most amazing thing. There's nobody who's an outsider. Everybody truly is welcome and they're served with dignity.
Graham is finishing next year, so that's his last Christmas. It's going to be so hard when he goes.
18 months or so ago, Graham got ill. At that stage, we put in place a formal succession process.
I think we were all thinking, how can he ever be replaced? Who are they going to find?
If the successor is someone I can believe in, it'll make my last 9 months a dream.
Life is fluid. There's a time and there's a season to come and there's a time to go.
I won't say anything rude like piss off. I hope you had a fabulous party.
3 cheers for the Wayside Chapel. Hit back. Hit back. Hit back.
She's going to be the first to give you a hug.
As soon as you arrive at the Wayside, everyone's the same. We're all on the same footing.
The whole point of everything we do is to create community with no us and them. On our ground floor, when you arrive, you're not met by somebody with a clipboard who needs to find out what kind of problem are you. You find yourself in a cafe, just an ordinary cafe.
It's so beautiful, it's like a rope. It's gorgeous.
No, you're gorgeous.
The culture that Graham has fostered here is that the visitors feel like they are not problems to be fixed, they are people to be met. And that is palpable.
Most hobbies you got cost a lot of money and it costs you money every time you go and do it.
That's right.
Graham really loves people. He loves the unlovely, the ones that you could walk past in the street. If they were a homeless person, they are able to have a shower.
Good morning, how are you today? Can I grab a towel to have a shower, thank you?
Nothing says I love you like a clean pair of undies. And if they need clothes, we can get them clothes, particularly when it's cold.
You can come here and get your CV written up for you, you can get your shoes polished, you can get a haircut, and you can get your washing done to help with drug rehabilitation and finding work, finding accommodation. It transforms lives, quite simply.
Lots of firsts happened at the Wayside Chapel, and Wayside had a reputation for being light years ahead of the church.
In 1964, the Reverend Ted Knopfs founded the Wayside Chapel in the heart of King's Cross as a drop-in centre with just one room.
Welcome everybody to the Wayside Chapel.
He was an old Methodist minister in those days and a bit of a radical. He was way before his time. It was full of bohemians and young people and poets and creative people, but it was also there prior to and just on the cusp of the drug culture.
And I'm willing to take the risk. Now if I want to take STP and that's actually really dangerous, if I realise it's dangerous, why not take it?
Ted, he was probably the first person really to see it and take it seriously, that we were going to have a massive problem with recreational drug use. And people would overdose on the floor of his little chapel, and he just simply found out that nobody was geared up to help. So what came out of that was things like he had the first drug referral centre in the country.
It started the first illegal injecting room that's now become a legal injecting room around the corner.
Coming through this door here.
When Graham took over Wayside, what he took over physically was a crumbling, derelict building.
I did weddings in the little chapel, standing in an inch of water when it leaked. There was a light well, which is where most pigeons in Sydney went to die. We had carpet, and people had pissed in that and thrown up in that for 40 years. before I got there.
You could smell the wayside before you could see it. That's how in disrepair the building was. The roofs were falling in. It couldn't really deliver great services, and it was condemned by work cover. So that was what he inherited when he joined as the pastor here, a complete mess.
It became fairly clear that if we didn't replace the building, we were going to go away, actually. So we raised $8.5 million. 3 of that was from federal government, 2 from state government, and the remainder, which is $3 odd million, from private donations from private people.
Woohoo! It started! Yes!
The new building opened in May 2012, and it was a moment of enormous joy.
The community of King's Cross has a lot to celebrate. The Wayside Chapel brings together the richest and poorest in the neighbourhood, and it's fought its way back from the brink of collapse.
What stands behind me today on a little patch of earth in the cross is a magnificent building that better equips Wayside to help people in need.
Once we had the new buildings, we were able to start more programs that we couldn't do before.
There's a lot of activities and stuff, and the activities help you feel like a normal person again. They give you something to do with your time.
All right, guys, we're going to be cooking chicken fajitas today. This is a recipe by Jamie Oliver. Get my head in there, Meg.
I come to Wayside because it gives me a connection to people that I wouldn't have. It brings people good contact and good energy into my life.
The decorations near the first thing to go out tomorrow, so
We
decorations.
have 800 active volunteers, and we relate to the rich end of society as well as the bottom end.
And it doesn't matter what floor you get out at, there's something going on in every room.
Life is just much more interesting. It's sad to see you go.
Well, I'm hanging around for a little while.
Like a lot of easier for you.
Succession was something that Graham and I have talked about over a very long period.
There was nothing saying he needed to retire other than he felt it was time.
I've had more farewell concerts than John Farnham. I started looking at every clergyman I ever met as, could you do it? Would you be a fit? And the more I thought about it, the more John stood on his own.
That one night when we first moved in, where there was a kid, the police were everywhere and there was a kid jumping all the back fences. And
I met him when his life ambition was to live amongst the poorest of the poor. And he wanted to find the roughest street in Sydney and to live there. And he wanted to run what was more or less a wayside out of his lounge room.
Good memories in this street, you know.
I thought, well, you've got a great heart, but you are naive, baby. This is not going to last.
Unemployment in Bidwell is nearly 4 times higher than the national average.
People who are part of Urban Neighbours of Hope, or relocate into the communities where they're wanting to serve, trying to live at a similar level. So we take vows, including a vow of poverty.
When we moved into the area, we thought, this place needs a community centre, and it doesn't have one. So we thought, why wait for the government to do it? Let's just do it from our lounge room.
Once a week, Lisa holds cooking classes for local kids.
You want to put in yours, sweetheart?
Our mission was just to create community and to make our household, as much as possible, a safe place for kids, a safe place for women, and a place of peace for men. I think we had 13 people in a 3-bedroom house at one stage.
Did you guys dry your dishes as well as washing them?
So it became the place to go to once you've been beat up by your husband and it's 2 a.m. And it became the place to go for kids whose parents were drugged out or drunk or whatever. I've been thinking about succession for probably 3 years. I said bluntly, this is your bloke right here. That's him. I found him. But of course, there was no way in the world they're going to make an appointment based on that. So they hired headhunters, and headhunters combed the world.
The inspirational leadership, the missional aspects, the ability to communicate. We joked about the fact that we were clearly looking for somebody who was superhuman.
I'll take away all your trouble.
I release you from the burden of leadership.
God, who could possibly replace Graham? But I think the people here at Wayside, having seen John over the past however many months, they're convinced that, they've found an equal in John.
I declare that John Owen is commissioned as the pastor and CEO of Wayside Chapel.
My sister's first son. He was 7 months when my sister died.
The real compassion he shows for people generally is the key attribute that will make him a success in the role.
The ambulance got there at 1 o'clock. She was pronounced dead at 1:05. She died of a ruptured appendix.
When you give your life over, when you are out there to serve, it's not a one-way street.
Sorry?
You haven't got much to do today.
It's easy peasy. Yeah. I'll be free, really, to just do what I love. I've got to go. So I'll support John in any way I can. Okay. And I will be very much a pimple on the bum of Wayside. We all flourish best when we're necessary, significant, not central. I really believe that with all my heart. But now I have to demonstrate it.